My mom was diagnosed with cancer in 2016, if I'm not mistaken. It was stage 3 breast cancer, so basically a terminal disease that could only be managed, not cured, which sort of sent it through numerous surgeries, treatments, chemotherapy, whatever you can imagine, we did it. Whatever we needed to buy, we bought it. Whatever we needed to like sort of feed her, we fed it to her. So we went through a journey of maybe a 4-year period of us sort of struggling to stay alive. And then unfortunately in 2020, we'd lost her. So I had lost my mom in 2020 to cancer because when she was sick and needed treatment, and my dad had taken her to the hospital, I sort of raced down there as soon as I could, couldn't get there in time. My dad had taken her in. Guess what? That was in the height of COVID epidemic or the flu pandemic, where people were just taking up beds for no apparent reason, people just sniffling and coughing and weren't really that sick, taking up beds and respirators and space in hospitals. So when my mom was taken to the hospital, unfortunately, there was no bed for her. And in the time that it took getting her to a bed, we had lost her, unfortunately. So 2020 was a very difficult time for me. Not only did I ruin myself financially by sort of taking on the financial burden of treating my mom and trying to keep her around, I'd also lost a lot of money through estate tax because after my mom passed, my dad was retired, didn't really have a lot of money as per a normal sort of middle income kind of guy. I decided to sort of burden the cost of the estate tax and winding up the estate and transferring houses and paying off debt and those kind of things. So I completely ruined myself. I had to sell every single bit of my investments, all of my life savings. I actually even went deep into debt just to keep my mom alive and pay for bills and those kind of things. So I come from a point where life had really beat me down, even though I'd done all I needed to do to be successful and lay a good path for myself and a good foundation. Life had found a way to beat me back down to submission and back to sort of a very humble beginning. And that's when the Tate content started becoming popular. I think this was before the days of Tate on TikTok. This was before the days of Tate going viral on any social media. Nobody really knew of him. There were just a few sort of Tate confidential videos where you're sort of traveling the world and trying to get around these sort of COVID and lockdown restrictions. And it resonated with me very much because I lost my mom due to the stupidity of what COVID had put onto the world. And a lot of the messages that he was giving was stuff that I could resonate with, things that I could agree with, things that I was actually telling people in my real life before that. So I naturally sort of grew accustomed to the information that he was giving and wanted to spread that information as well. So yeah, I was in a very bad position in my life. Even though I'd done a lot, been through a lot, that period of my life was very difficult for me. I'd lived my entire life trying to become successful and rich and wealthy so that I could take care of my mom. But when your mom is taken away from you, what are you doing it for? I have cars, I have houses, I have those kind of things. What are you still doing it for? I don't have kids. I lost all purpose in life. And Tate and the real world, he sort of realigned me. He gave me a new purpose. He gave me a direction where I felt that I could change more lives than I would have changed in my everyday life. And I've improved tremendously mentally, physically. My financial standing has improved. My ability to teach, my ability to speak, my ability to lead, everything has improved. So yeah, that's basically what led me to the Tate influence, the Tate brand. And I've never been the same ever since.